Hi, my name is Amalie Schaefer, and I am with Systematic Excellence Consulting, and this is the ClickUp Master YouTube channel. And today I'm continuing my series reviewing the free templates that are in that come with a ClickUp account. And I am going to do the student management or student progress template. I'm going to review that. I'm going to go over how to use it and any improvements I would recommend. So let's get it into the account first. So in order to do that, you want to select the space that you want it in. I'm going to put it in my template space. There could potentially be a different space that you want it in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign, go to new folder. I'm going to go to templates, community. I'm going to scroll down to the education and click on the student progress template right here. In previous videos so far, I have done the class management, the syllabus planning, and then I do have the student template and class planning coming up in the next couple of weeks. But today we're going to go over student progress. So just click on that. This tells us what is included in the template. I'm going to go ahead and hit use template. And if you want to try to remap the due date, sometimes this works depending on if they have due dates set on something. If they don't, then remapping the due dates doesn't really matter. We do want to import everything, and I'm actually going to call this student management. We do want to import all tasks as open, and I'm not going to include any archive tasks. I don't know if there are any, but I'm not going to include them. And then I'm just going to say use template. And now it is importing it right now. I have already imported it, so I'm just going to switch over to that screen. Okay, so I am on the folder level, and with the template comes, let me just move my face here, the folder with one list. Okay, I'm at the folder level, and your views and how you have this set up can be saved at the folder level and the list level. So when we go to the list level, there's going to be a couple of things that look slightly different. So starting at the top here, they have 3 different lists available to you. So behavior issues, needs attention. So those are pulling from the information that is here in the custom fields, and I'll go through each one in a moment. Then they have there's a board view, calendar. Now there aren't any due dates on these particular tasks right now because the date that they have here is a birth date, so it's not going to show up as like a due date. Now, if you wanted a reminder of whatever their birthday is, if it's going to be during the school year, you could set a due date of when their birthday is, something like that. And it comes with the parent's phone number custom field, but I actually added parent's email. So this is a text field, and you're just going to type in their phone number, email here. They have behavior, so you have some options here: good, improving, getting worse, medium, poor, and you can add or edit those options here. So if you just click on add or edit, you can change the name of this, you can add some new options, change the color, anything that you want. You can hide this field, so if you don't want to see it on this main view, then if you just click on behavior, you can hide it. You can edit the field, duplicate it. You can move it to a different area, like in order, or you can delete it. And if you do delete it accidentally and want to get it back, you can go to your trash, which is if you click on the 2 circles here, you can go to trash, and I think it's saved there for 30 days. So you can get that back if you need to. My recommendation is if you just don't want to see it, but you may want to refer to it later, I would just hide it and it can go away. Then they have progress, so they have effort and they have stars plus progress, and then they have classes, which is a labels custom field, and you can add or change these if you want them to be named something else. We can edit the custom field. Maybe you want to actually put the names of them or what their other teachers are or something like that, so you can edit that there. You can add other custom fields. These are showing what custom fields are here, but obviously there's lots of different options for you to add different custom fields. So maybe if you do progress reports on a ClickUp doc, then you'd want to link to a doc, and you could do that through putting the linked docs, which would show whatever documents you've linked to this. Okay, so back up at the top again, we have the board, the calendar, Gantt. If you don't, I think this was previously set here, but you can remove a view if you don't want it. So if you don't want this view, we can, you can keep it, or it is a required view, actually. I didn't realize that. So it's a required view, totally cool. You can just leave it. And then if we go to the guide, this is the intro to the template, which is basically what I'm going over now. And they do mention that this could be used by one teacher or multiple teachers. So they recommend using the comment section to kind of go back and forth with teachers if you need to collaborate on it. And they do recommend some different ways to kind of make it your own, which I'll go over. And the way that they have it set up is that each student is a task or a line, and then they go over the custom fields that they have. They do recommend adding checklists, which is something that I would also recommend adding, and we'll go over adding that. And then they have some different statuses, which I'll show you in a moment. And then they have useful actions, which is just about like making templates, how to reuse templates and checklists. Checklists that are templates, deleting tasks, deleting folders and lists and such. And then I was going over the custom fields, and this just shows you how to delete that. Okay, so let's go back over here to the list, and I went over here what the information is. So the second list is behavior issues. So if I click on that, it's going to pull up this student, Chad, who is getting worse. That's the setting that they have here. And it's grouped by status, but it has a filter. So it says wherever the behavior is getting worse or poor would pull into this, this status and this view because of the filter. Now, if we go to needs attention, the filter here is statuses, not started or active, and we can see needs attention, needs confidence building, and I'm going to show you that in a moment where they have that set. So right now, those are the three lists. So if we go back to the main list, all of these are set into needs attention. This is grouped by status, but what it's not showing is any empty statuses. Okay, so if I flip this around and hit save, these are the empty statuses that are here. So needs attention, needs confidence built, doing well, needs extension in tasks. If we moved, let's say we moved Anthony here, and then maybe we moved Tammy down to needs extensions and tasks. So and then needs attention. Now, if we went over to needs attention, we're going to get a little different setup because, again, it's filtered out by those statuses, and this is not showing any empty statuses. So we're just going to see the statuses. These are the statuses, and we're just going to see when there is a student placed in that. Okay, so what I recommend doing from the beginning is figuring out first what custom fields do you need? Do you need to add some? Do you need to remove some? Do you need to edit them? And then I would think about what do you need as far as information in here. So in the description, I might put daily notes or weekly notes. Maybe you do notes once a week and you want to put some notes. So, you know, Monday, or what's today? Thursday. You want to put some notes about the student here, and then you can refer back to them. And then, as mentioned in the document, the intro document for the template is to collaborate with teachers here in the comments section. And you can tag, you know, if they're all on ClickUp, you can tag them in the comments and kind of go back and forth. You can even do some screen recordings if you have something that you want to say versus just typing it out. One of the other things that they mentioned is adding a checklist. So either you could have maybe a checklist that is the same every semester. So maybe this is like a recurring checklist for every student. And we put different items here. Now, once you've developed this checklist, and let's say you want to apply it to every student, we want to save this as a template. So I'll click on the three dots, save as template, and we want to create a new template, and let's call it the student management template. And we'll go ahead and hit save. Now what I'd do is, well, first, if you have like specific items for the student, maybe this is just specific to Sam, then you can add some items or reminders of things. You know, maybe you need to set up meeting with parents for Monday or something like that. You can add a checklist here and assign it to yourself so you get a notification. Now for that recurring checklist, now that we made it a template, maybe we want to apply it to the other students. So we'll go down to checklist, use template, and we want to grab that student management template that we just created. And now it's going to add it there for us. So that, again, for the template, whatever kind of recurring, maybe there's certain things that you do with students on a monthly basis or a yearly basis or something like that. You can create that, and then you can have a separate checklist that's for each student. So maybe this is, you know, Chad checklist, and then you can just put some items here that are specific to this student. And again, you can take notes and make your notes from each day to, you know, follow up on it in the description, and then you can have comment section for back and forth with other teachers, and you guys can collaborate on it that way. Okay, so the other thing you can do is you could create a student template task, and let's say you create a section called, you know, daily student progress notes, and then down here is weekly progress notes or something like that. And then maybe we add our template checklist. So I'm going to go grab that and put it in there. And then maybe we have some subtasks where it's schedule midterm, or let's say schedule parent-teacher conference. Maybe it's the midterm one. And then schedule parent-teacher conference final, or yeah, final, something like that. Okay, so now let's say we've created our template. This is the one that we want to apply to every student we have in our class. So let's save this as a template. I'm just going to grab the name of that really quick. And I'm going to go over to Template Center. We want to save as template. We'll put the name in there. We want to import everything, and I want to share with all members. So I'm going to hit save. So now this becomes our template, and we can now apply it every time we have a new student. So, okay, and so let's say Amelie's the new student, and we want to apply that main template that we created. So if I go over to Template Center, browse templates, I want to find that student template task that we created and use template. So now it's going to apply that to this task, and so we can start with every student having the same template or items in the template. And then you can go back and apply the template to each of these tasks as well. So let's actually go to the list level. So now that we went through all of these items, now we can see how this works. Now we're going to go to the list level. Now for the list level, you could potentially have one list per grade. If you deal with multiple grades, one list per class. If you want to split up your classes that way. You could have a list per teacher if there's multiple teachers working on this together, something of that nature. But let's go to the list level and check it out. Okay, so now we're on the list level, which looks a lot like the folder level because there's only one list in this folder. So now we can see it has the same list. So behavior issues, needs attention, and so it's going to pull it that way based on the filters. And you can add another list if you prefer. You can even edit, this one if you wanted it to be assigned to you. If you have an assignee and you only want to see the students that are assigned to you, maybe there's multiple teachers working on this, you could create a filter saying just show the ones that are assigned to me if you wanted to. I'm not going to save that view right now, and if you want to remove that filter, we can just remove the filter. Okay. Now at this level, depending on if you have multiple teachers working on this or if you're working alone, I think that would kind of depend on how you're going to want to organize this. Now, as far as these statuses, this is where I might change the status a little bit, where I might add a status to be like maybe information and instructions or something like that. And I'd put that at a not started status. Actually, I might move needs attention. Let me delete this one. Sorry. Let me delete this status first. Let's call this information instructions. Probably should spell that right. There we go. And let's put needs attention down here. We'll just put this as an active status, meaning there's something that needs attention. Let's maybe make this one gray, and we'll leave that and hit save. So now it's going to kind of rearrange our statuses. Oops. There we go. So let's move this to information instructions. And now we have our new status set up. And then this could be where you can put some additional. So this is the template task. Maybe there's some other notes that you want to put here. But this is a non-active status, meaning there's nothing, like this isn't going to show up as overdue or anything like that, even if you did put a due date on it, because it's a not active status. So this works well for like any information instructions. You could put an instructional video here, something like that. So now we have our needs attention, needs confidence built, and needs extension task, something like that. So you can edit these statuses to be whatever works for you. And then for needs attention, like anything that has an action to it, I would put a due date. So you can just add that due date custom field here to put some dates to things. And then we have our subtasks here, so you can put, oh, we didn't put this in here. So this was the parent teacher conference. So if we added a subtask, then we can put a due date on that as well. And that'll help us start to solidify our calendar, what's coming up, what's due, that kind of thing. And another thing that I might do is if you have a big project coming up, I might add maybe a checkbox or maybe a grade, maybe a text box where you could do, grade for project, and then you can kind of see what their grades were for a particular project or do a checkbox for if they've completed it, something like that. So there's a lot of things you can do in here to track. It really just depends on what information is most important to you. And I think that's about it. I think that this is a great place to start, and combining this with the syllabus planning and class management templates, and then I'm going to go over some of the other ones in the upcoming weeks. But I think combining those gives you a really great start at managing lots of the moving pieces that are important to you as a teacher, principal, those kinds of things. Even a resource teacher or guidance counselor would be able to use this to track their students and progress and things like that. So again, my name is Amalie Schaefer. I'm with Systematic Excellence Consulting. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And if you're looking for one-on-one support to get this implemented, to get this customized for yourself or your organization, please feel free to book a free call so we can, touch base, see if I'm able to help you, and then we can go from there. And make sure you subscribe to catch my future videos. Thank you so much.